This episode of our show is brought to you by our newest patron, Regina. If you would like to be a patron of our show, you can do so going to patreon.com/CST.
All right, so, you taping?
Not hot. Sea lion sunbathing.
The unyielding bosom of Lady Justice. Hello, Katherine.
Hi.
My Lady Justice.
Did
I'm going to
Lady
leave-
Justice have...
I'm going to leave all bosom jokes out of that.
Did Lady Justice have a boob job? Is that why they're
They're
they're unyielding?
Sounds painful. Unyielding bosoms.
It does. Don't you
I like my bosoms to yield just a
remember
little.
Mean Girls?
Uh-uh.
You don't remember that episode? Never mind. I'm not going to go into it if
Oh,
you haven't seen it.
okay.
Oh, hey, dog.
Out.
Go
Go
away.
Max. Go. He's around the tripod.
Oh, he's fine. We can start there. You want to start with Max?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Well, no, that would be happenings. I should probably play the happenings bumper.
The word unblowupable is thrown around a lot these days, but I think I can say with confidence. Okay, that shows you what could potentially happen.
Now you go.
Now I go?
Now you go.
Matt came in and woke me up this morning and said, it's a beautiful day outside. The breeze is blowing. You should kind of wake up. So I rolled over and grabbed my phone to look and see what time it was. And I was looking at my phone and I hear Max's claws
Like a commotion.
on the ground, the whatever.
The floor.
These, it's not hardwood, whatever our floors are.
Laminate.
Make a certain sound when he's really, really excited about something. Either somebody has thrown a toy or somebody just showed up at the front door and he's scrambling to try to get his balance. He's he has no traction basically. So I kind of heard that noise. So popped my head up laying in the bed. And then all of a sudden, Max is in the room with me. And then there's a dog on the bed. Keep in mind, Max never jumps on the bed.
The dog that is on the bed is not Max.
Doesn't belong to us. It's the neighbor's dog who has just come in our house and is now running around our room. And immediately I just scream bloody murder.
Would you say he was running pell-mell or what's the other word? Ramshackle.
I don't know, but he was... I screamed. I'm not even sure the noise that I make. All I know is Ben comes out of his room.
I thought there was a snake in the house. I thought that's why, because I was in the closet taking off pajamas and putting on regular clothes, and you just went bananas.
So what did you come out to see?
I came out to see another dog on the floor. He was not in the bed anymore.
Right. You didn't realize that he had been in the bed with me.
Right.
And that's why I was making the noises that I was making.
And you were not even really awake the last time I'd spoken to you.
Right.
So.
And it wasn't like he just sort of calmly hopped up on the bed and
Right.
sat there and looked at me. It was like two dogs fighting, and all of a sudden, in order to get away from one of them jumps on the bed. So it's like a dog jumping on my bed in scramble to get away mode. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. It was awful. It was an awful way to wake up this morning.
Aside from that, it's been a really lovely morning.
Yeah, it's been a great day.
Because it was, the porch this morning was just so cool. It was overcast and breeze, just an unending breeze. Would kind of get heavier and get lighter. Now, the blessing that we're getting from that is the calamity that's happening in Texas right now.
Yeah, I think we looked on the radar and we had a lot of cloud cover. We're like, are we fixing to get some rain? But there wasn't any rain. But the cloud cover that we had in North Georgia today was the very tip of the Harvey system.
Right.
Which is just blanketing Texas, South Texas, and maybe Mississippi. No. Louisiana with rain today.
So our prayers go out to those folks. They're going to need them.
I think our friends, the Sweeneys, are sort of right there in kind of the path of the rain.
It's going to be bad.
Yeah.
So, Katherine, what else happened this week?
This week, we went to our first Raider football game.
Yeah, we sure did.
I'm wearing a Raider t-shirt.
The North Forsyth Raiders.
North. Because we got there, and everybody's wearing purple and gray, which are the North Forsyth. Purple and gray and white, I guess, are
Black.
the North. Well, purple and black, purple and gray, and white are the North Forsyth colors. Mm-hmm. And I was wearing royal blue pants and a bright green top. and everybody else is in purple and black. And so in true non-Dave Ramsey fashion, I went straight to the Raider Station tent and bought myself a Raider t-shirt, which actually I really like.
Yeah, it's a good
Pretty
looking
cool.
shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
bought Mac one too, but he didn't really like it. So I even told the girl at Raider Station, I was like, my husband's the media specialist. This may not fit. She was like, oh, no problem. Just tell him to bring it back if he doesn't like it. So he can go and swap that out for something he likes.
Right, so Ben, again, was directing the videoing of the football game.
So this is the first time that Sam and Jude and I got to go and watch Ben at his work. Did you get to see him the last time?
A little bit.
Okay.
And it was Family Fun Night is what they called it, where they feed the family of the faculty members. Sort of the behind one of the end zones is the football field is sort of dug out. So they call it Raider Valley. And behind one of the end zones up that hill is the back of one of the gyms. And so on that sort of hill, there's a flat area and then a hill. And so they set up tables and they had it catered by a local grill. And so they had hot dogs and hamburgers and some brats and stuff. And it was very nice. And
It was very pleasant up there. Like it was warm, but we were in the shade.
a bunch of people
So it
brought
wasn't hot.
blankets and we get to sit on the hill. And yeah.
was
It's an
nice.
interesting, like I've never watched a football game from that perspective before.
From an end zone.
From an end zone, yeah. So the passes look much cooler because you get to see like the bead.
Yeah. And it was really nice. The Raiders, we left after halftime because Sam and Mac were ready to leave. And it was fine. But we were winning 28-6. It was a very exciting game for the Raiders. It was the first home game of the season. And so, it's always fun, even if, you're still getting used to being somewhere. It's always exciting when your team is doing really well.
Yeah.
Feels really good. Now, the teenagers are teenagers all over the world. And even here in bucolic North Georgia,
They're all obnoxious.
they're not all obnoxious, but there are people dressed appropriately and there are people dressed in.
Yeah, this was
Appropriately.
We did not realize that this was a thing, but apparently it is here in North Georgia at football games. I don't know if they do it at basketball games too, but the students decide on like a theme to
Focus on.
As far as their costumes go. So in the student section, this week was America, and so everybody hashtag America. Everybody had on Stars and Stripes, but like the most redneck versions of Stars and Stripes possible.
So you had the first indication that we had was when we got out of the truck and a young man, probably 15 or 16 years old, not thin, a nice sized young man.
He had some meat on his bones.
Walked past us wearing cut off blue jeans, boots, like cowboy boots, and knee high socks that were red, white, and blue. And then he had on like a red, white, and blue shirt and this other hat. So that's all I saw initially.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mac, what is he wearing? Because that looks like something a girl would wear. I mean, like knee-high socks, with cowboy boots, like, ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway, once we got into the stadium, and then you realize, okay, he's not as crazy as I originally thought he was.
So a lot of the guys were dressed like that. A lot of the girls were dressed basically like Daisy Duke.
As scantily clad as possible.
Like flannel button-ups, sort of tied around cinch so you could see the midriff, and these little tiny blue jean shorts.
Cut-off blue jean shorts like Daisy Duke's.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, tell your story. Can you tell your story? Is that
I
allowed?
believe I can, yes.
I mean, no names will be used.
No. And I'm not even claiming it was at a particular school. I'm just saying
This happened.
In my 18 years of education, I have never had this particular thing happen before. I was standing in the hall, and it was the change of class, and I noticed this one young lady walking down the hall, and I realized that she had no pants on. Okay, I'm going to let that sink in for a second. This high schooler, no pants.
Now, she had a sweatshirt.
She had on a sweatshirt that she was, like every 2 or 3 steps, she'd
She
kind of
would
look
pull
around a
it
little bit,
down.
and she'd be pulling it down.
So she was wearing a sweatshirt that she was kind of pulling, like tugging on.
Right. Right. So she got.
So initially you were like, what?
And there's a really very relaxed dress code at the school.
To the point that you're
girls-
surprised sometimes.
Girls wear very short, like the type of shorts like that have like the pockets hanging out the bottom of them.
They're so
like
short.
That short sometimes. So it's very likely that sometimes they're wearing a shirt that is too long for me to see their shorts. But there was a way this girl was holding herself, like the way she was looking around.
Like she was
that
nervous
I
about
thought,
what she had on.
This is not right. And she walked past me, and walking away from me, I could see the bottom of her panty seam on one of her cheeks. And so
she had no pants on.
She had no pants
No,
on.
it wasn't like she was wearing a sweater dress that rode up a little bit.
Right.
She was wearing a shirt and no pants in high school, in a high school setting. She was, and I said to you, I was like, do you think it was like one of those situations, when you dream sometimes and you look down and you realize, oh my gosh, I forgot to put on pants today.
Except she's in my dream.
And then
no, that's not right.
And then you realize, no, I'm in a dream. And then you're so relieved, except she looked down and it wasn't a dream.
This is not a dream. This is actually
happening.
happening.
My mama let me walk out of the house without pants on.
I followed her at a safe distance.
Because you are not allowed to mention this to her.
Right. So I found the first female employee I could find standing in the hall, and I motioned, I don't think that girl has pants on. And she was also aghast and followed her into the room. And I'm sure she was dealt with by administration after that.
Like, oh man. And Ben, our son, mentioned that they were earlier in the day,
the
had a fire
explanation-
drill. And it's
Yeah.
possible that, because they were on the bleachers were wet. It's possible that this girl, not making good decisions, decided that she had on wet pants and it'd be better to just go pantsless
Yes.
than to wear wet pants.
This was the change of class immediately after the
fire
fire
drill
drill that had happened. And so I don't know for sure because I don't dig into other people's business. I didn't check up after or anything, but I'm very sure she did not decide to go to school with no pants on.
You hope.
I don't know this girl.
You don't know for sure. Anyway, the game was fun. We had a good time. The boys were having fun. They have a Chick-fil-A booth at the game.
Which they do not carry diet lemonade at.
I found $20 on the ground.
That was the universe compensating us for not having access to diet lemonade.
And for buying shirts.
And for buying shirts.
It was like the universe wanted us.
Like almost paid for your t-shirt, right?
It did almost pay for my t-shirt. That's right. Oh,
yes.
Sam and I also on Friday, speaking of spending money we shouldn't have probably, went to one of the antique stores because I've been wanting to take him to the store. So we did, me and Sam and Jude and I. And we found a Polaroid Land Camera 100. Which was made
Explain to our audience what that is.
Okay, so it's like the first Polaroid camera ever made. Not the first, but one of the, the first type. So this was made between like 1963 and 1965, I think. So I was explaining to Sam, I was like, Sam, this camera came out when your grandfather was like 19 years old is when this first camera came out. And it was considered the easiest camera in the world to use.
Golly.
Which is, go look up the
Cameras have
Polaroid
come a
Land
long
camera.
way. Yeah.
Easiness has come a long way. So some friends of ours, Scott and Kelly, I had texted them when we saw it, when we found it. It was in its case and had a flash and these accessories, and it was like, seemed really inexpensive for what all it had, and it seemed to be in working order. Like the shutter, you could hear the shutter click, which means the shutter wasn't broken, and it would pull out like it was supposed to. And the battery compartment is possibly corroded, but our friend Scott, he and his wife are kind of into this right now. And so they were able to say, well, there's a way you can fix this. You can either clean it or you can actually sort of jerry-rig it. And so we talked to Sam about it, and we're going to, this will probably be like a Christmas present. So we've got to do some work on
It's
it.
up in our closet now.
Yes, in the closet. So we've got to do some work on it and sort of get it ready, buy some film, which is probably more expensive than the camera itself. But it allows for a little bit of some artistic outlet for Sam, who is into that kind of thing.
Yeah. I have been doing honeydew projects
You have.
around the house.
You seem to be enjoying yourself.
Yeah, most definitely.
Not Friday, but yesterday and today.
So we have this big cabinet above our kitchen pantry that's just a big box, right? And you wanted dividers.
Yes, because we had like our pans in it, like our long, thin things that you have in your kitchen.
So you just wanted slats put
just
in.
wanted slats so that you could stand up those things.
And we had a dresser that we didn't want anymore. It was falling apart. So I took it apart and recovered as much of the material from that dresser
An
as
IKEA
possible.
dresser.
An IKEA dresser.
We
yeah.
were going to just take it to the landfill, but it was going to cost like $30 to take it to the landfill.
And it comes with this super dense. It's not quite cardboard. It's not quite like masonite.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in between, and it was sort of the perfect material to make the slats out of. And I used all recovered wood, and the only thing I bought was the little metal brackets. That was cool. And yesterday I spent like 3 hours breaking down pallets.
That you got from school.
And that's exhausting. Yeah.
But you
Like
got
I
to,
feel like I
use
had
your muscles.
I feel like I had a workout breaking the pallets down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
sure.
So
And
I've
you're-
got a bunch of wood stacked in the basement now.
And you're going to build a little shelf thing for Max.
Yes.
Max's food and
so
water.
we can raise his food and water. Well, it's raised now, but it's on a box of books.
No, that's just a box. I took the books out.
Oh, well, good.
It's an empty cardboard box.
An
It
empty
looks
cardboard box.
super nice. Super nice on the floor.
And I'm going to build a workbench. I might build
yeah,
a
I can
workbench
support-
before I do Max's box.
I can support that.
'Cause-
I'm totally on board with that.
Using the chop saw on the ground is for the birds.
Is it?
It's awful. Yeah. Gonna raise it up.
On the car front,
Mm-hmm.
we had very good news. Last time we spoke to you,
Yeah.
Our car was sitting in the parking lot at a place that told us it was going to cost $2,500. We went and picked it up on Monday, took it to a different location, dropped it off at there Monday evening. I got to rent a car, which was fun because usually we drive cars that have 100,000 plus miles on them. And I got to drive a car that had 13,000 miles on it.
Nice.
It was not as fun as our convertible Mini Cooper.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. Our audience is waiting to hear the results of the new place. Like, what did the new place? What did they diagnose the problem
They diagnosed the problem as a water pump.
as? Just a water pump.
Just a water pump.
$500.
$500.
Which normally would be like, oh my gosh, $500. That's awful. But compared to $2,500, $500 sounded great. I was probably the happiest person he had ever spoken to hear $500. I was like, yeah, that's great, man. He's like, you sure? Yeah.
Yes. Tell them about the guy.
Oh my gosh. So, well, okay, you do my end of the conversation. I'll do his. So,
Yeah. So what I wanted to leave this car with you. We're having some problems. I found some pink liquid under the car. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to see what you guys thought about that.
you got the key?
Yes.
All right. That's about it.
What's funny, the funniest part about this to me is that the place we took it to is called Japanese Automotive.
So it's not this little Japanese man.
No.
No. Which was what I thought it was as we were passing it, but until I took a car to it. And then I realized, oh, they just work on Japanese cars. They just specialize in that. It's run by like North Georgia rednecks. You know.
So it's very comparable to in Swainsboro when I was growing up. There was a guy, Mr. Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
He worked on all of our foreign cars, Mazdas and Hondas, and he was Mr. Charlie. And just again, good old country
Yeah,
man.
and this man is perfectly nice. He's just curt, not curt.
Curt.
They're
Short.
succinct.
Yeah.
Short. Yeah. Hey, my neighbor recommended you. Who's your neighbor? I told him. Mm-hmm. It's not like, oh yeah, I know that guy. It's just, Yep. All right, Dan.
Very nice of him to pass.
Want
our
some more of them
information.
French fried taters? Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, so I got to drive a Ford Escape for 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a really good time. It was fun. The biggest difference between this newer car I drove and my minivan is the get up and go. That's what I would have to say is the biggest difference. Like that Ford Escape, you push the gas, you go. And you really do if you... Like
The minivan, you kind of have to get out and push just a little bit.
Just a little bit. And if you get over like 78 miles per hour in the minivan, you're going to feel like a little bit of a shimmy, like a little, wah, 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 wah. Not a lot, but a little bit. In fact, our tires probably need to be rotated. But in the Ford Escape, the first time I drove it to work,
Yeah.
I looked down and I was just tootling down the highway, right? I looked down, I'm going like 85 miles an hour. I was
Didn't
like,
even know it.
Oh no.
I didn't even get to drive it. Man.
There was no good time.
Yeah. This concludes the happening segment of our show. If you'd like to hear more of our show, please go on over to YouTube, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe. Thank you.
Like and subscribe.